10 years now, and I'm so grateful. And so my introduction to her is really, she's one of the voice for the younger generation to bridge the gaps between generations. And she's taught me the value of sitting at the feet of my elders. And so I love you, Miss King, and I want to introduce you to everybody. Welcome to the Youth Club.
I love you, Sierra Fly Bobo. How about this? You're edgy with a finesse now. How about that?
Oh, really? Okay.
Yes. You don't want to lose. You don't want to lose edginess. You just got to finesse it some. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what you are. And you know, I know this probably is not appropriate, but Fly has been dressing me lately. She has a clothing line, a fashion line, and I just want to thank her for her work and putting clothes on my body. She didn't design this, because today I'm representing my sorority. Today is our anniversary, and so happy Founders Day to my ski week sisters, my sorors, and of course our Vice President-elect is an AKA, so shout out to my soror Vice President-elect Kamala Harris and all of the AKAs around the world. And Sierra, thank you for dressing me with that June Marie brand. And I'm just honored to be here with this generation. I've been in your generation. And what I mean by that is all of us have been through that time period where we're trying to figure out the world. We want to change the world. We want to do some exciting and wonderful things. We want to be able to grow up and not have to worry about so much stuff that is overwhelming and stressful. And I just want to speak to you for a moment, because this Beloved Community Global Summit is designed for each and every one of you. We're coming into your homes. We're coming into the places where you are gathered right now around whatever screen you may be looking at. And I know that when you look at the world as it is today, for some of you, you're angry. In fact, you're pissed off and you're hot. And you want to do something with that anger. Some of you are worried. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't have any hope for the future. You've kind of given up on whether we're going to have a brighter future. Some of you are fearful. You're scared. What happened at our nation's capital? That was a scary moment. But we've had scary moments in the Black community for a long time. So this just has amplified the fear for you. Some of you are depressed. This stuff has taken you to a very deep, dark place. And we're calling you out of that depression today, because there's hope. There's hope. I want you to know you're not the first generation who has had to face darkness, evil, meanness, injustice, inequity, racism. Generations before faced it in very intense ways. And they overcame. And they overcame because they had a vision. Harriet Tubman had a vision for her freedom. She saw a place where she would not be in those chains. She would not be shackled. And she believed it so much, she was willing to put her very life on the line, not only for herself to be free, but for other people to be free. Vision, you'll be all over the place. You'll be drawn into all kind of stuff, trying to deal with your anger and your fear and your worry and your depression. You'll start doing all kind of stuff. So today, this Beloved Community Summit is about the vision of the beloved community. We want to draw you into that. We want you to be able to grab hold of what it means, that you use all of that energy that's inside of you, those emotions that are raging inside of you, that have you tossing and turning, have you maybe even confused, have you frustrated, and say to you, you can channel that energy now, because we're welcoming you to the beloved community. You can make a difference in this world. As a member of the beloved community, you are significant, you are valuable, you are important, you are a person that is worthy to be treated with dignity. And you have the energy and the ingenuity and the drive to create a more just, humane, equitable, peaceful, and sustainable world. And we're depending on you because every generation that is young, every young generation always changes the world. So just put your hand on yourself. I'm a world changer. I'm a world transformer. I am a beloved community member. Young people have been at the forefront of creating social change and doing my father's movement. My father, you all, was 39. I'm older than my father lived to be. I'm 57, about to be 58. I know I look good. I know. Come on now. Get that profile going on here. But anyway, my father was 26. He was younger than Fly is when he started that movement. I said that wrong. When he was catapulted and drawn into the leadership of that movement, because women really started the movement. They're the ones that gave the idea of the boycott. And they asked my father, groups of people in Montgomery, to be the leader and the spokesperson. But those were young people. And over the years, it's been young people. No movement for social change, no movement to make our world a better place has changed without young people. You're it. You're the ones we've been waiting for. But I got to tell you, what you hear tonight is going to be vital. Because the only way we're going to be able to move our world out of darkness into light, the only way we're going to make sure we're not continuing down a descending spiral, as if we grab hold of the pathway to creating a beloved community, which is Nonviolence 365. And I'm so delighted that Fly and Cameron and others are going to join us in talking about how we get there and how we live in this world house, keeping our eyes focused on the vision of the beloved. Back to you.
Thank you, Ms. King. You see why she's my mentor, man. She dropped out those nuggets, those jewels. We appreciate you so much. Again, that was our CEO, Ms. Bernice A. King, that just really stirred us up and just reminded you young people that you guys are world changers. You know, you're world transformers, and you are a member of the beloved community, and we want to continue to talk about that a little more. But now I want to introduce our next speaker, who's actually going to introduce someone else. But I'm really excited about, you know, our partnership with Points of Light. And so she's getting ready to come introduce somebody very special from there. Can you guys, you know, if you're in your, I know we're all virtual right now, but I'm full of energy. So I always say make some noise or give it up or something like that. But if you guys can give it up for Sharia Venkat. Hi, Sharia, how you doing?
Hi.
Hey.
Great. How are you? I'm so excited to be here. Thank you so much for this opportunity. This is just so exciting for me.
Yes. Welcome. I know you have the task of introducing somebody very special. So I'm gonna turn it over to you and allow you to do your thing.
Yeah, sounds good. So I'm Shreya Venkat, 18-year-old freshman at Georgetown University and the co-founder and CEO of Nest for Us. And I'm also a proud member of the Points of Light Youth Network. And today, I'm pleased to introduce Miss Natalie Paquin, President and CEO of Points of Light. Natalie Paquin is a graduate of Florida A&M University, a historically Black college and university, which instilled values she has carried with her throughout her career and leadership journey. After attending DePaul Law School, she started her career in litigation, then transitioning to become a civil rights attorney with the U.S. Department of Education. She spent 15 years in the education sector in legal and executive leadership roles. Her career in nonprofit began when she was a volunteer. She describes herself as having a volunteer spirit and a servant's heart. And after spending time volunteering at the Kimmel Center for the Performing Arts, she became the Chief Operating Officer. She continued her nonprofit career at Girl Scouts, where she was first CEO of Girl Scouts of Eastern Pennsylvania and later Chief Transformation Officer for Girl Scouts of the USA, the largest global volunteer organization. And now she is President and CEO of Points of Light, which inspires, equips, and mobilizes people to take action that changes the world. She has helped Points of Light bring to focus on the power of people and the light within us all. Please join me in welcoming Miss Natalie Paquin. Thank you so much.
Hey, Sharia, thank you so much. That was really a wonderful introduction. It's nice to see you again, and I know your sister Isha will be participating in this program. I have to say thank you to Dr. Bernice King for her always just inspiring remarks, and she reminds us of our purpose. And so thank you so much, Dr. King, and thank you, Sierra, for hosting and being the facilitator here. So, I would say good afternoon to all of you. Good evening. I know we have people joining us from all around the globe, and I'm really grateful to be here on behalf of Points of Light. For those of you who are unfamiliar with Points of Light, we're a global nonprofit focused on volunteerism and civic engagement. We work with corporations, individuals, and nonprofits all around the world. What's important about Points of Light, a part of what's important is our belief system. We believe that every action matters and that no action is too small. And we know that many of you are doing amazing, amazing work around the country, around the globe, and in your communities. As a matter of fact, a couple of the people who will join you today are Daily Point of Light Award recipients. You heard from Sharia, her sister Isha Venkat, and also Avi Gupta will be joining you. At Points of Light, we like to lift up people who are doing good work, and so we would encourage you to go to our website, and hopefully someone will nominate you for Points of Light recognition, or you can recognize someone else in your community so that we can continue to shine the light on people who are doing good to make this world a better place. One thing that we did recently at Points of Light is we conducted some research around civic engagement, and that research was it was parsed out by generations, and so the generations included your generation, Gen Z, as well as older generations, the millennials, my generation, and others. And one of the things that we learned from the research is that you young people, your generation, you are the most active leaders in our communities. And you are telling us that you will not accept the world the way we are handing it to you, that you want to change the world, you want to make it better, you want to make a difference in the world. And so just as Dr. Bernice King stated, you're members of the beloved community, and we're really excited and inspired by the work that you were doing. We're thrilled to have you here, learn more about the work, and we believe in a quote that Dr. Martin Luther King said, which is, darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. And so we look at you as members of the Points of Light community as well. We know that you have the courage and the resolve to shine the brightest lights in your community and get together with other Points of Light to increase your power, which is why I'm glad to welcome you here today. At Points of Light, we do have a conference ourselves this summer. It will be online, and as well as a part of it will be in Orlando, Florida, at Disney World. And we hope to hear from and see many of you so that you can share these principles, the beloved community principles, with other leaders around the world. So thank you again for joining us. You could be anywhere today, but you choose to be here. And thank you, Sharia, for that warm introduction. And thank you to the King Center for this important work.
Awesome. Thank you again, Ms. Paquin, and also Sharia. Great intro, by the way. And thank you guys for the work you're doing over there at Points of Light. We really appreciate it, and we wish you the best with your events this summer. And so thank you again for joining us and being a part of the King Center's Beloved Community Global Youth Summit this year. Thank you so much.
Thanks.
Thank you. So listen, guys, I'm super excited. You guys have already heard from some amazing speakers. And now you're kind of stuck with the task of hanging out with me for a little while. I hope that's okay. But we're going to talk about some cool stuff. Matter of fact, I'm going to put some slides on the screen. And again, this is the opportunity for young people to really get exposed to what we call our philosophy and methodology over here at the King Center, as well as or a short way of saying it is kind of like the way we think and the way we like to move. It's the things that we stand on, and it's the guidelines that we follow when we're trying to bring about sustainable change in the world and in our lives. And so we're going to go over for a little while the 6 principles and 6 steps of nonviolence 365. Why do we call it nonviolence 365? How many days are in a year? 365, right? And so we believe that nonviolence 365 is a lifestyle. It's not something that you do only during the King holiday, which of course we do want to make sure we exemplify these types of principles and skills and mindsets during the King holiday, but actually we want this to be something that you adopt as a lifestyle, something that you say, you know what, I could see myself doing this any day. I subscribe to this way of thinking every day, no matter if I'm playing video games, if you're on your PlayStation, or whether you're playing your Xbox, whether you're on a basketball team, football team, a cheerleader, whether you're currently doing an internship or you're in your college courses. No matter what part of life you're engaging in, this is something that we subscribe to in our relationships with our friends, in our relationships with our family, anything. So here is what we're going to tell you about today, or what I'm going to teach you about today, which is the 6 principles of nonviolence. Feel free to tweet about it. Put it on your Snapchat, even if you want to make a TikTok video about it, whatever. Feel free to just chat about it on YouTube or here in our Facebook community, wherever you are watching this at. Feel free to reshare these principles and steps, because we want to get this word out as much as we can to help us spread the word that nonviolence is the way, because that's what we believe here at the King Center. So I'm going to go over the 6 principles of nonviolence. All right. We kind of wrote down what a principle is. It's a fundamental truth. It's something that you stand on. It's something that you believe firmly in. It's a foundational truth that you say, you know what, this is my value. This is what I believe. This is what I stand on. All right. That's another way of putting it. So let's go to the next slide, which is principle 1. We're going to pull out a word from that principle, and the word is courage. All right. I know you're at home right now and I can't feel your energy, but if you're at home right now and you feel like just talking, I want you to just yell out courage. All right. Courage. All right. Go to the next slide. Why the word courage? Because we believe here, principle 1 is nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people. All right. Now I'm going to tell you a little bit about me. Some of you may not know me. Most of you probably don't know me. Again, I go by the name of Fly as a nickname, a name of affection. But growing up in the urban side of Atlanta, I was kind of taught that violence was the way you solve problems. Matter of fact, it was almost, you were considered to be a punk if someone disrespected you and you didn't disrespect them back. So back then, I had a law or a principle or a law that I stood on as my foundation was, if you disrespect me, it's my duty to disrespect you back. And I thought it took courage to be disrespectful. But the more that I was exposed to more courage to respond in love when somebody's disrespecting you or responding in hate, right? So the more I realized, man, the strength that it took for people, even during the civil rights movement back in the 60s and the 50s, the strength that it took for them to stand in the face of unjust treatment and still respond in love and courage and still stand for what was right. I was like, man, that takes a lot of strength. And so that's why we believe here that nonviolence is a way of life for courageous people, because it's not easy. It takes a lot of strength to respond to hate with love. And so that's the one word I want you to take away from principle 1. Now, people say, oh, nonviolence is for people that are soft. No. I think that's quite the opposite. Nonviolence is for people that are strong and very courageous. So the word that I want you to take from principle 1 is courage. All right. Slide, principle 2. All right, here's the word I want you to think about. Community. Here's the thing. You keep hearing us say the beloved community, the beloved community. What do we mean by that? Basically, what we believe is that if we subscribe to nonviolence as a way of lifestyle and a way of life, that if we continue to approach conflict, because here's the thing about conflict, it's normal. It's going to happen. Even with your sisters and brothers in your house, you have conflict. Sometimes The conflict is how long did you stay in the bathroom? You're standing in the bathroom too long. You're eating up all my chips. There's a lot of things that may come up as far as conflict. Conflict is normal. However, the goal is if we are able to reconcile our conflict non-violently, we can build a better community, what we call the beloved community, which has, what does the beloved community have in it? Love, justice, peace, those type of things, right? So here's principle 2. Here's the next slide. So the principle 2 is saying, hey, we could go to the next slide. Nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. Nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. So even when you're in the midst of a conflict, even now if you're playing a sport right now, and maybe one of you and your teammate got into it at practice, the goal is not to defeat your teammate or to win over your teammate, as far as like to beat, like to take advantage of them, humiliate them, is to win them over to, to understanding and also to maintaining your friendship, so nonviolence seeks to win friendship and understanding. I want to understand your perspective. I heard someone break down love like this, LUV. Matter of fact, it was Will Smith, the actor. He broke it down like LUV. And he said, L stands for listening, U stands for understanding, and V stands for validating. A lot of times when we're in the middle of a conflict, we don't seek to understand the other person. We just seek to be understood. And it's very vital that you take out time and you say, you know what? I'm mad at my friend right now, but let me understand her perspective, where she's coming from. Let me seek to understand before I assume, before I accuse, before I speak so quickly that I haven't sat down and listened and just really understood their perspective. So that's what we believe here at Nonviolence 365, that nonviolence, we always seek to win friendship and understanding. All right, going over to the next slide, number 3. The next keyword I want you to think about is focus, right? So now we have already had courage. Okay, it takes courage to be nonviolent. All right, we always want to make sure that we're moving closer and closer to the beloved community, which means that you're going to have to listen, seek friendship and understanding. Now we're moving on to 3, focus. You have to focus. What are we talking about? What do we mean by focus? Here we go. Next slide. This is what we mean by focus. Principle number 3, justice and not people. I'm going to say that again. Nonviolence seeks to defeat injustice and not people. What do we mean by that? All right, so say for instance, you're having a conflict or an issue with someone calling you out of your name, maybe even a racial slur, right? Here's the thing. In Nonviolence 365, our goal is not to go beat up the person that called you out of your name, right? Our goal is to defeat the injustice that created the circumstances for us to be called out of our name. But by defeating a person, just that person alone for calling you out the name, you didn't solve the problem. All right. The problem is much bigger than that one particular person calling you out of your name, especially when it comes to like racial slurs and things like that. It's so much bigger than if you defeat that one person, you're not ending racism. All right. So we focus our attention on what really matters. If the goal is to make sure that no one at school is being called out our name, we attack the system and put our energies on, hey, how can we change the system so that this is not an issue at our schools, right? Versus trying to go fight that one person. Now you get suspended. Now they're in trouble, you're in trouble, but you didn't solve the issue of people being bullied at school. So we attack the real issue, which is bullying at school, versus just beating up the one bully that violated you or made you feel bad or anything like that. That's what we believe here in Nonviolence. We focus our attention on changing the root of the problem and not just attacking people. We don't attack people at all. We don't believe that attacking a person solves a problem, because it really doesn't. If you really think about it, attacking of one person doesn't solve the problem at all. So we focus our attention on what is the injustice, the unjust thing that's happening here and the injustice here. How do we solve that? That's how we focus our attention. So number 3, the key word you take it from it is focus. Focus on attacking the injustice and not the people, okay? We don't attack people here. All right, next slide. Number 4, sacrifice. All right, sacrifice. All right, here's principle 4. Next slide. So nonviolence believes that unearned suffering is redemptive. I know this one can sound a little tricky, but we're going to break it down a little bit. Nonviolence believes that unearned suffering is redemptive. Nonviolence holds that suffering can educate and transform. Here's another way of saying it. Nonviolence accepts suffering without retaliation. Woo! I'm going to say that again because I know that was a lot, right? That was a lot. Principle 4 is saying that nonviolence accepts suffering without retaliation. All right? A lot of times I like to add this to it in order to achieve a goal. I'm willing to suffer without retaliating towards you for doing something wrong to me in order to achieve a goal. I'll give you a prime example. Let's say high school, because I know we have middle school and high school students with us today. So say, for instance, you're a senior. Before we went into virtual learning, right? When you were still physically in schools. Say, for instance, you're a senior. Someone does something disrespectful or says something disrespectful to you. This is a very critical semester for you. Matter of fact, if you don't pass all your classes this semester, it could jeopardize you graduating on time, right? So at this moment, you have a choice. Your choice is, I can retaliate to the person that was being disrespectful towards me and jeopardize me graduating on time, or I can go through other parameters to make sure that doesn't happen again. Because here in nonviolence, we're not telling you to let people abuse you and mistreat you and just take it. No, we're not saying that at all. We're saying stand up for things that are unjust. Stand up for justice. However, don't do it in a violent way. Do it in a non-violent way, right? And so that's what we're saying. And so in that moment, you can retaliate and be disrespectful and now possibly get suspended or something happens. And now you're jeopardizing graduating on time. Or you can stay focused on not attacking, going back to the last principle, not attacking the person, but attacking the injustice and making sure that, you know what, in order to achieve my goal of graduating on time, I'm going to accept this suffering. Now, people may talk about you, oh, you saw, you this, you that, you went and told the teacher or whatever you had to do in order to make sure you were safe in the midst of making sure you also didn't retaliate. Remember, I told you again, nonviolence takes courage. So sometimes you may not respond the way most people want you to respond, and that may cause people to talk about you. But when you have courage and you're very secure in who you are, you can stand strong in your principle and understand that me graduating is more important than anything that anybody can say about me, right? So that's principle 4. Again, nonviolence believes that unearned suffering is redemptive, all right? Going over to the next principle. And I know I'm going through these kind of fast, but this is just like almost like an appetizer. We're just wetting your palate a little bit. If you want to learn more about the 6 principles and 6 steps, please pay attention to the King Center's website. We do have an academy here, the Camp Now Leadership Academy, that is designed just for young people, where you could come in and learn more from us and go in a little deeper, even more deeper on these principles and steps. All right. So principle 5, goodwill. All right. Goodwill. That's the key word I want you to take out of this one. Moving on to the next slide. All right, principle 5, nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. I've been talking about this a little bit already, right? But nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. It sounds very simple, but it can also be very tough to do, right? And the love that we're talking about is agape love, which means unconditional love. Like, you didn't have to do anything to deserve my love. I'm going to offer it to you because of my love for humanity and the goodwill of who you are as a human being. So even when I feel like hate may be coming my way, I'm going to choose love. I'm always going to choose the unconditional agape type of love towards you. This, again, takes principle 1, a lot of courage. It takes a lot of courage to respond. But not only will I not hate you in return if you're giving hate towards me, but I also won't allow that hate to poison my spirit or my heart, right? Because when I hate you, it's almost like me drinking poison, because it begins to tear away at the integrity of my heart. So I'm not even going to be violent towards my own spirit by allowing myself to come so low to hate somebody, right? So that's why we're here at the King Center. We believe that nonviolence chooses love instead of hate. We believe that love is the greater force. We believe that love always wins, right? All right. So moving on to the next slide. Here's the last principle that we stand on. All right. This is the foundation on how we stand as believers and practitioners of Nonviolence 365. Last but certainly not least, faith. All right? Am I talking about a religion? No. I'm just talking about a belief. All right? A belief, faith. Moving on to the next slide. Principle 6. Nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice, right? This is our belief. We believe that nonviolence believes that the universe is on the side of justice. And if we are nonviolent practitioners and we stand up for what's just and what's right, we'll win. Justice always wins because we believe that the universe is on the side of justice. Here's another way of saying it. You can see the point below. The nonviolent resistor has deep faith that justice will eventually win. This is why we keep going. This is why we keep standing up for what's not right. And we are standing up against what's not right and standing up for what is right. Because we believe that justice will always win. We believe that the universe is on the side of justice, and whatever is out of balance, it eventually get right back into balance. So that's our faith. That's what we're rooted in. This is what keeps us going when times gets hard. This is what keeps us going, and when every time we turn around, like kind of like what we experienced in 2020 and even recently. Every time you turn around, you see it seems like another unjust thing is happening to someone. But we don't give up. Why don't we give up? Because we have faith. That's the key word that I want you to take out of Principle 6, faith. We just believe, you know what? If I continue to stand up for what's just, if I continue to stand against what's unjust, and if I continue to do it in the nonviolent spirit and way, justice will always win. And that's our belief here at the King Center. And that is a brief introduction to the 6 principles of Nonviolence 365. All right, I know that was a lot. I need you to do me a favor. I need you to take a breath with me. On the count of 3, just gonna inhale, and we're gonna exhale, and then we're gonna move on to part 2. All right, you guys ready? On the count of 3, we're gonna take a deep breath. 1, 2, 3. All right. I know that was a lot. Again, I welcome you guys to come back this summer for our Camp Now Leadership Academy that is designed just for young people. And we go deeper, and we go in and we talk about practical ways, and we bring in some technology pieces, and it's really dope. And I hope you guys are able to come back. So please keep watching the King Center's website, thekingcenter.org, for more information about our Leadership Academy for young people. All right, moving on. Back to the slides. All right, now we're going to talk about, on the next slide, the 6 steps of nonviolence. The 6 steps. Okay, so what's the difference between the principles and the steps? Let me break it down for you like this. The principles are our foundation on how we think, how we believe, our mindset, right? That's the principles. It's almost like some of you may have a principle in your life, like, don't be fake. I know a lot of people have that principle, like, I don't believe in being fake. I believe in being real, authentic. That's a principle that you stand by. Or you may have a principle like always be loyal. Some people have just, a principle of I tell the truth. I don't like to lie. That's a principle that you stand on. Those are the principles, the way of thinking, your foundation, your values. So those were the 6 principles of nonviolence. Now you're going to hear about the 6 steps. The 6 steps is almost kind of like your will, how you practically and physically respond to things and to conflict, right? This is how you practically and willingly respond to conflict, right? So step number 1, here we go. Information gathering. Now, in the midst of a conflict, like, again, I told you earlier, conflict is normal. It happens. It even happens with love the most, right? It's just a part of life. Conflict is a part of life. How you reconcile conflict determines if it ends good or it ends bad, right? So the first step to reconciling a conflict in a nonviolent way, number 1, is information gathering, right? You have to gather all the information. Do you know all the facts? I'm going to give you a prime example. I had a friend one time. We were at school, and she walked past me in the hallway, and she didn't speak, but I spoke to her. Now, immediately, because I'm sensitive, I felt some kind of way about it. Like, oh, she acting different now. Now, mind you, she was walking with a new student. So I thought also, so now she has a new friend. She want to treat me kind of funny now, right? That's what I was thinking. Now, later at lunch, I saw that same student crying. Now that I see her crying, I began to seek out more information. Come to find out, someone in her family had died that day. So her not speaking to me wasn't personal. Her not speaking to me was more so something because of something she was personally going through. A lot of times, most conflicts can really be solved if you do step number one properly. Because a lot of times it's our perception of what we think may be happening, and we don't even know all the facts about a situation that can really escalate a conflict. So here at the King Center, we believe that first, before anything happens, gather all the facts. Gather all the facts about your perspective as well. Gather all the facts about the other person's perspective. Get all the information before you even go forward, all right? In that particular scenario, me gathering all the facts allowed me to not even have to feel any other type of way but compassion and empathy for my friend, right? All right, so moving on to step number 2. All right, education. Education. You have to educate. When you're in the midst of a conflict, first, you gather all the information. Then 2, you educate. Who do you educate? All parties that are involved with the conflict. You make sure everybody understands all the details of the conflict. They know all the facts about the conflict. You have to begin to educate all parties involved. It's extremely important that everybody involved has all of the facts and details, okay? So that's step number 2. Step number 3, all right? Personal commitment. What do we mean by personal commitment? In any conflict, a lot of times our emotions are triggered. That's for lack of a better phrase. Our emotions are triggered, and it's easy for us to want to maybe become violent, maybe want to say something violent. Because here's the things about violence. Violence is not just physically harming somebody, like punching somebody, kicking somebody, spitting on somebody or something like that. That's not just what violence is. Yes, those things are violent, but calling someone out of their name is violent. Denying people human rights is violent. There are several things that can be considered as violent. But in personal commitment, this is the time where you have to stay centered in those 6 principles that we talked about to make sure you stay grounded in the idea that I'm going to make sure that I reconcile this conflict non-violently. You have to keep your spirit strong, your soul strong, your heart strong, your mind strong, however you want to say it. You stay personally committed to the cause, and you stay personally committed to the journey of reconciling the cause non-violently. Now, a lot of ways I like to keep my soul strong is through music. I find a song that motivates me to keep going when times get hard, motivates me to keep focused on my goals. And one of my personal goals is to live a lifestyle of nonviolence. So music sometimes does that for me. Meditating, saying affirmations do that sometimes. For those that may believe in God, praying can help during this time. So commitment is very key, and it's something we subscribe to here at the King Center. All right, moving on. Step number 4. Now, you've information gathered, meaning you gathered all the facts. You've educated all the parties involved about all the facts and the details about the situation. Number 3, you're staying personally committed to the journey, to the cause, to standing up for what's just non-violently, and you're keeping your spirit strong, right? Now, step number 4. Now, if you get to a point where whoever you're in the conflict with, y'all still aren't quite seeing eye to eye, you come sit down at a table of negotiation. The purpose of the table of negotiation is one thing, really, truthfully, is for you guys to walk away with a win-win situation. The table of negotiation is not about you coming to the table and demanding only what you want, not caring about the other person's perspective, not hearing their truths, or anything like that. It's just all about you. No, at the table of negotiation, we want to see how can we create a win-win for both parties. It's not for me to come to the table and humiliate you, defeat you, show you that I'm better than you, cancel you. I know we're living in a world where cancel culture is popular, but that's not the goal of sitting at the negotiation table. The goal of the negotiation table is for both of our humanity to be lifted up and for justice to win. If that means it creates a win-win for both sides of the table. Now, unfortunately, sometimes at the table negotiations, it doesn't always work. Some people can sometimes be irrational and they don't want to hear your perspective. And even though you may be willing to hear theirs, they may not want to hear yours. So there's kind of like, I don't want to say it's a loss, but it is not effective. So when it's not effective, then you can move on to step 5. We only move on to step 5 when negotiations fail. That's the only time we will move on to step 5. Step 5 is direct action. That's where you have to do something non-violently to gain the attention of your opponent, whomever you're in the conflict with. So you see a lot of direct action on social media or on the news or on television. Examples of direct action: marching, protests, sit-ins, strikes. Those are examples of nonviolent ways to get your opponent's attention and draw them back to the table of negotiation. Because that's the goal. We still want to get them back to the table so we can sit down and create that win-win. Because remember principle number 2, we still are seeking to win friendship and understanding. All right. We're not seeking to defeat them. We're seeking to win them over. Right. So that is step 5. And we only do step 5 when we've done all the other steps and negotiations failed, okay? Because sometimes you could get to the negotiation table and you guys create a win-win and you walk away and the conflict is over, right? But if that doesn't happen and the negotiations fail, then we move to direct action. Lastly, but not least, the most important one is step 6, reconciliation. You've heard me say this word several times now, on purpose, really. The whole goal of it all is to get us to the Beloved Community. That's why you guys are at the Beloved Community Youth Summit, right? Here's the thing. The goal is for us to reconcile. Reconciliation, so key. We want to get to the point where we get back to what Principle 2 was talking about, where we have that friendship and we have that understanding. Does that mean you have to be best friends? No. Everybody you get into a conflict with, the goal is not for you to be BFFs, right? The goal is for you to have respect and definitely respect and understanding and want the best for both sides to prevail in life. All right. That's what we're talking about. And that there's some type of harmony that has happened. There's justice is present in the midst of that reconciliation of that conflict. Right. That's what we want. Because at the end of the day, we still lead with love. And my love for humanity is say, I wish nothing but good for you. Even if you don't come to my birthday party, that's not always the goal, but I wish the best for you. I wish goodwill for you. I want the best for you. And I want to create win-wins with you as we live in this world house together. All right. So again, the 6 steps of Nonviolence 365. Number 1, information gathering. Number 2, education. 3, personal commitment. Number 4, negotiations fail. Then we go to steps 5, which is direct action. And again, the whole goal of it all is to get back to the table of negotiation so that we can ultimately reconcile, which helps us get closer and closer to the Beloved Community. I hope you guys enjoyed this very brief introduction of the 6 steps and the 6 principles of Nonviolence 365. I'm ready to actually turn this program over to one of my friends and teammates here at the King Center, Mr. Cameron Friend, who is the Youth Millennial Engagement Coordinator. And he actually is one of the leaders of the Camp Now Leadership Academy here at the King Center that I was telling you guys about. And he could tell you a little bit more about that, but he actually is going to be coming on in a brief second to introduce the panel for our second portion of the Youth Summit today. So guys, thank you for joining me. I'm so excited again. My name is Sierra Fly Bobo, and I'm going to turn it over now for our next part of our presentations. Thank you.
Here's to those who give a damn, the ones who question the status quo and say we can do better. You don't wait to be invited to the table. You set your own table and bring people together. You believe great ideas can come from anyone, anywhere. No matter who you voted for, what you believe, the color of your skin, or who you love. Some might say you're a dreamer, but we think you're brave. Because those who are brave enough to start a conversation that matters are the ones who co-create a better future for us all. It's time to come together.
Hello, I am Michael Weinstein, President of AIDS Healthcare Foundation. And on behalf of our over 6,800 employees in 45 countries that we serve, I want to say how pleased we are to partner with Dr. Bernice King and the King Center to present this beloved community summit. As a global public health organization for over 3 decades, AHF continues to be committed to our core mission of both providing quality health care to those living with HIV/AIDS and to being in the forefront of standing against hate and oppression of all types and advocating for the dignity, respect, and equity for all human beings, no matter their sexual orientation, racial, or gender identity. As we embark on this new year and work to rebuild the soul of this nation, the lessons and strategies of Dr. King provide a framework for the critical work that is still to be done. For it is ever more clear that, as stated by Dr. King, we are confronted with the fierce urgency of now, and in this unfolding conundrum of life and history, there is no time for apathy or complacency. Over the course of last year, I was greatly encouraged by the inspiring leadership from young activists that emerged in communities across the globe. As this powerful summit has attracted so many young people with a profound concern around civil and human rights, I know that you will take the tools and deeper understanding of a lifestyle of nonviolence 365 and commit yourself to doing your part to building the beloved community envisioned by Dr. King. The future of a more just and equitable world is in your hands, and we are counting on you. Have a great summit.
What's going on, y'all? I hope that y'all are having an amazing day, an amazing time. We are in the middle of our youth summit. We're in the middle of our youth summit, and this has been a wonderful day that we've had so far. So this next session that we have up is going to be embracing nonviolence 365 and helping to create the global beloved community. You see, in this session, we're going to examine how youth throughout the world are creating the beloved community in their homes, in their schools, and in their communities. All right, I'm excited. I've been excited all day. Let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to start bringing in the panelists. First, we have Esther Abia. Esther Abia is going to join us. We have Esther coming in.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
Hello. I'm good, thank you. How are you?
I'm great. You don't understand how excited I am to hear from you tonight. I'm super excited. Thank you so much for being here. All right.
No, it's a pleasure.
Absolutely. Then next we have Sienna Castellon. Sienna Castellon. Hope I said that right. Sienna's coming in.
Hi, so nice to meet you. So nice to be here.
Hi, great to see you. Welcome, welcome. All right, and then we have Esha Venkat. Esha Venkat.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, doing well. I want to make sure I pronounce your name correctly.
It's Isha.
Isha, okay, Isha, I got it. Okay, thank you for that. I appreciate it. All right, and then we have Avi Gupta. Avi Gupta.
Hey, how's it going, Cameron?
It's going well, it's going well. How's everything going?
It's all good out here. How are you guys? Esther, Sienna, Isha?
Oh, great, thank you. Very good, thank you.
Doing well.
Hi, thanks.
And Avi, did I pronounce your name correctly as well?
You pronounced it perfectly.
Okay, thank you. Appreciate it. All right. And then last but not least, we have Marcus Craig joining us. Marcus Craig.
Hey, everybody. How you all doing?
Good.
Good.
Doing well, doing well. All right, so this is the group. Here's the squad that we have compiled to talk during the youth summit today. Look, I'm not gonna lie to y'all. I haven't really waited for this conversation all day because I know you all are doing some amazing things around the world, and I can't wait for you to introduce yourself to the rest of the world. So here's what we're going to do. Tell us who you are, tell us where you're from, and also tell us about some of the great work that you're doing. And we're going to start with Esther. Esther, go ahead, open up the door for us.
So, hey everyone, my name is Esther Bia, and I am a young Congolese Australian, and I am, apart from the physical obvious of being Black and female, I am a survivor of the detrimental effects of the Civil War, which killed millions of people in the Democratic Republic of. I am based in Brisbane, Queensland, and I am on the land of the Turrbal and Yagara people's land. Inspired by my refugee background and inspired by the adoption of my siblings, I have transformed into a human rights activist. Last year I founded the Advocacy Collective, which is a youth-led social justice project that aims to inspire and empower young people, young Australians, to be advocates and activists for refugees, asylum seekers, and minorities. And also we do a lot of workshops at universities, schools, to share our experiences of being refugees and asylum seekers. And I'm also a committee member of Youth Voice Brisbane, which is a side project of Queensland Program of Assistance to Torture and Trauma. And we do a lot of things with the community to advocate for refugees and asylum seekers as well. And yeah, that's basically what I do.
That's amazing. That is absolutely amazing. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And then let me see, can we have Sienna? Can you?
Yeah, of course. My name is Sienna Castellon. I'm from the United Kingdom and I'm a neurodiversity advocate. I'm autistic, dyslexic, dyspraxic, and I also have ADHD. I had a very difficult school experience. I had to go to 10 different schools in total, and it led me to start my website, QL Mentoring, to support and mentor children who are neurodiverse. I then started Neurodiversity Celebration Week, which is a global campaign to flip the narrative and focus on the positives of neurodiversity instead of on the negatives. My campaign has over 633,000 students taking part worldwide. And I also work with the UN as an SDG Young Leader to just try to change many of the misconceptions around autism and learning differences and to empower children who are neurodiverse.
Well, thank you for sharing that. We obviously are deeply appreciative that you are here and spending time with us. And then Isha, can you tell us something about you as well and the work that you're doing?
Of course. Hi, everyone. My name is Isha Venkat, and I'm 15 years old and a sophomore in high school from Northern Virginia, which is super close to DC. First of all, I would like to thank the King Center and Points of Light for giving me this amazing opportunity to be on the panel today with all the other inspiring panelists. I'm really, really thankful. And today I'm here as a member of the Points of Light, a global youth network, as well as the co-founder and COO of Nest for Us, which is my nonprofit that provides volunteer solutions to the community to make the world better through kindness. And we do our part in our local, national.
Listen, this is going to be going on all day. So people, you can watch it on Facebook at Martin Luther King page. Definitely look over there, so follow them and check it out. See? Because me have to move. Big up on yourself, bless up on yourself, to all my subscribers, my loving people. Me just try to support the Martin Luther King people, the kids initiative, all of the gathering, you know what I say? Big up on yourself, people, one love and respect. See? Enough respect. G-Terra said that. Checking out. Out and gunning. You see me? I have to move. To drastic, I have a lot of work going on now. So you can check out that live at Facebook. Definitely check it out on Facebook. See? Martin Luther King page. Big up. How do I get the hell out of this shit? Since they already don't want to let me out of live them now. Facebook, YouTube, I mean shit.